Our scripture for this evening comes from Proverbs chapter 24, verses 16 and 17. Proverbs chapter 24, verses 16 and 17. On the evening before Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. died, he gave what is, in my opinion, one of the best presentations he had ever delivered. And in it he said, "I've been to the mountaintop." And though we can appreciate having been to the mountaintop, we have to always recognize that before a person gets to the mountaintop, they've got to go through a valley. For Dr. King, the valley was Albany, Georgia. He went there in December of 1961 and spent about 7 months there. It is considered by most historians, and even in statements Dr. King made himself, to be his greatest failure. He left there frustrated, and he left there defeated. He thought that a victory in Albany, Georgia, would galvanize support and boost morale, and it had just the opposite effect. Instead of giving up and waving the white flag of surrender, he determined to examine what caused failure there in Albany and the movement that they put forth. And from it, he sharpened his tactics and made some strategic changes based off what he learned from that failed endeavor. So many times in our lives we fall. As the song says, we fall down, but we get up. At least those who are on the Lord's side can get up. Listen to these words from the wise man Solomon in Proverbs 24, verses 16 and 17. "For a just man falleth 7 times, and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth." When we look at the word fall in this passage, some scholars suggest that this simply means the typical troubles of life. Others have determined that it could mean a moral fall. And then there are those that say it could reference either. For the sake of this conversation, we're going to assume that it could be either the typical troubles of life or a moral failure. When we make mistakes and encounter life's problems, it is so easy for us to suffer in our self-esteem. We lose confidence in ourselves, and sometimes do not exercise boldness and courageousness and faithfulness in future decisions because we can't get over the mistake that we've made in the past. It may be a mistake in our family life. It may be a mistake in our professional life. It may be a mistake in our spiritual journey. But rest assured, all of us have falls. Don't count your falls. Count how many times the Lord has helped you to get up. When we have a negative disposition about our negative outcomes in life, we'd be surprised at how we project that to others, and those who do not have our best interests at heart can easily take advantage of us in a state of vulnerability. In these verses, we learn, number one, that the Lord will help righteous people to rise up. So if you fall, don't get comfortable with the scenery of being on the ground. Look up to God. In the next verse, we also learn not to get excited when other people fall. What happens so often with people who experience failure is instead of learning to get up, they learn to feel better about their fall when they see someone else's fall. When someone else makes the same mistake or does the wrong thing, people oftentimes get excited and saying, see, they're no better than me. Here are some very simple things that you can do so that you can go from the valley to the mountaintop. Again, Dr. King and all of those who have adorned flesh, save Jesus the Christ, know what it's like to fall. Number one, forgive yourself. Oftentimes, people can be harder on themselves than anyone else, and they can hold things over themselves that even God has forgiven. Second, like Dr. King, find the information to help you to learn from your failure. If you were cooking and something did not come out right, or your baked good did not come out right, you would taste it and you would give thought as to how to cook it or bake it better the next time. Why not apply that same practice to life and determine to do better by learning from your mistakes? Third, use what you've learned as fuel to forge ahead. You are in charge of getting to the mountaintop. All of us have a valley. Don't get comfortable with the valley. Keep moving, and you too can say like Dr. King, I've been to the mountaintop. This has been another installment of A Few Minutes with the Minister.